Did you know that rebellious children want rules? I mean, rules that work, that is. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about rules and rebellious children. In this video, we're going to be talking about the struggles that parents have with rebellious children and maybe what's leading to some of those struggles. And then we're going to be talking about rules and principles and skills needed to help those children feel very secure in a structured environment. We're going to get some insight into the rebel and see if we can understand why rebels actually like rules. Now, I do have to say, if you understand the rebel tendency, you will know that rebels have a tendency to just push against anything that they see as a norm, unless they think that the idea that is being presented to them is fringe enough, rare enough, rebellious enough to actually go with it. So what is more rebellious in the parenting world than actually having some concrete structure? Lots of times in families, there's a lot of just fighting back and forth, who can have control. Now, the rebel really gets into that environment, and usually when you bring in structure at the beginning, they push against it and fight against it. But let me just tell you some personal stories. In fact, I could probably tell you story after story, but we don't have that kind of time. There are these children that will come to me and they will say, Nicholeen, I have to just tell you thank you for coming to our house, or I want to thank you for your teaching self-government stuff. When my mom first started, I thought, oh no, this is going to be awful, and I fought it and it was horrible. But now I get almost anything I want. My relationships are good with my parents. I actually love it. Thank you so much. So the difference that these youth usually find is that there is a difference between rules and principles. What children really want is they want principles. They want skills and structure, not necessarily just rules for the sake of rules. Rules seem like somebody's in control, that they're just passing down law on you, and that it doesn't really have a foundation except for just to control you. But a principle is very different than a rule. Rules are things that apply to certain or narrow experiences, such as when I'm in a car, I wear a car seat, not a car seat, a seat belt. Such as when I'm in a car, I wear a seat belt. When I sit anywhere else, I don't wear a seatbelt. So why in a car? Well, it's just a rule that has been made because somebody saw some wisdom in it. Okay? However, if it were a principle, then any time we sat down, we would always wear a seatbelt, but we don't. So it's a rule. So what types of things are principles then? Well, what about honesty? That's just a flat out principle. If one person should be honest, shouldn't everyone be honest? Is there an age that it's okay to be honest and not to be honest? No. Everyone should be honest. Even people that are non-religious think that everyone should be honest, except for sometimes when they're being not honest and they don't want to be found out. But that's just manipulation. So we know that honesty matters because it's actually punished in our society, and it always has been, because it ruins relationships. It ruins family bonds and communities. It makes it so that the people cannot work together and have civilization. That's why we have to have honesty. We absolutely must. So that's a principle. So when you teach your children principles instead of just rules because there's things you want to control, that makes a big difference. So the teaching self-government parenting approach is actually designed for the most strong-willed, neurodiverse, atypical children that there are. And it works. So for years I did therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens. And the reason why people started asking me to be on TV and do this channel and write books and write different articles and stuff like that is because they saw that it worked. The BBC did a show that proved that it worked with difficult children, rebellious children, children who didn't want to do what their parents said, children who would run away all the time. Well, you know what? By the end of the 8 days in our home, those two teens from the BBC program were actually saying, "We love your house. And they were actually begging not to leave it because of the structure. They said, please don't make us go. We feel so safe here. Please don't make us go. We actually wished they could stay, but obviously they didn't belong to us. They had their families they needed to return to. And they've done so well since then, just by seeing cause and effect and being held accountable for their choices. Rebellious children are practically screaming, "Stop me." One time I was speaking to a group of parents in the Las Vegas area. And as I was talking about different types of parents, like modern progressive parents who just want to be their child's friend and stuff like that, this woman just started crying. And she raised her hand and she said, I was raised by that type of parent. And I just wanted them to stop me from making all my mistakes. I tried to do everything good I could to get their attention. It didn't work. I tried to do everything bad I could do to get their attention, to get them to care, to get them to stop me, and they wouldn't. They just wanted me to choose everything for myself and for me to just be their friend. And now I've spent my whole adult life trying to recover from that. It was a somber moment. Everyone in the room was like, oh, we need structure. We need rules. That's important. We don't want our children to have that situation, to turn out like that, because it absolutely could happen. So what do we give? We have to give a reason why. Rebels need a reason why. They got to know why they're going to make the change, why they're going to control themselves, why they're going to do anything you would have them do. And don't worry, they're still going to push back from time to time if they're true rebels. I do have a video on this channel. It's all about tendencies. There's one called the 4 tendencies. There's one called the rebel tendency. You can look into that. They need to know they have choices. And luckily, the Teaching Self-Government program and the way that you do the parenting is all geared toward them recognizing they have all the choice. They have all the control over themselves. You're just setting up a framework and then everyone sticks in the framework. You're not manipulating them or trying to power struggle with them at any time. And that lets them recognize, I'm doing this to myself. If there's any negative consequences, they have to accept it because they're doing it to themselves. So there are skills that we teach, like the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. I also teach the children exactly how I'll correct them, how to problem solve circumstances. We have environments where they have certain meetings with us, where they take personal responsibility and investment in the things that are happening in the family. They learn to live by a family standard and to help make a family standard. They learn to value their family relationships and put unity within the family above self and above others. It is a really powerful environment, and it requires heart change and calmness. Now, I could go on at length, but I think this video is probably long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer you to a full-length class that I've put here on this channel called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. If you click on the link to that video now, then you'll get a great overview of some of the skills and principles of self-government that should prepare you to launch into learning self-government at your house. Click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.